So I'm here with Zane van Ramunde, who's the Associate Director of our member Agri-TechE. Zane, thanks for having us. Do you want to just introduce us to the company and why you're interested in agriculture?
Sure, thank you very much, Belinda. So Agri-TechE is a product development consultancy. So we solve difficult engineering and design challenges on behalf of our clients to turn their innovations, their ideas into products that actually work in the field and in the market. I'm a mechanical engineer by background and an associate director here at Agri-TechE, which means I oversee the project delivery and making sure that the client's needs and requirements are delivered to by our excellent project delivery teams.
And you occupy a really interesting place in the kind of innovation ecosystem, don't you? Because you get to see some of the bleeding edge innovation, and your job is to make it usable in the hands of farmers or doctors or whoever it might be. So what have you seen over the last decade that's really impressed and surprised you as a game changer in the tech development world?
I think there's been a lot more recognition of what the actual use case is. And that's across all fields, if you excuse the pun, but certainly in agriculture, the outside farming environment is not benign. It's very challenging. It brings a lot of development challenges, both in terms of making it robust to the elements, but also things like power and data and how you actually use that technology to be useful in a practical sense. And so whilst that's kind of more an application of technology, it's understanding where it fits in that whole use case and designing to those have actually thrown up some really interesting sort of development challenges.
Sure. Now, you came with us on the trade mission to Agri-TechE 2023. And I think we all came back from that with some views about big technology and small technology. Going forwards, what do you think could be the biggest disruptor across technology over the next decade? I mean, we hear a lot about power, we hear a lot about data. Which horse would you back? Which technological horse would you put your money on?
I'm not sure it's a race that has a winner. I think it's there's a lot of moving parts to any market. And kind of if you look at some of the trends that are coming out, I think there's a general kind of overarching direction about productivity and making the most of what is becoming a scarcer resource in terms of land. And so there's different solutions to that. There's some that are going on kind of scale and getting economies of scale on the current kind of system, bigger machines to kind of just use more land with fewer operators. Is kind of going to a smaller scale and doing more precision management. And that also makes sense. And I think there's a balance between those two that really is going to ultimately depend on the economies and the location of the system that's being addressed here.
Sure, and whether it's out in the field or in a vertical farming system or whatever it might be. And we've got some examples of some of the products. You make the guts of some clunky technology look really lovely and functional for farmers or others to be able to use. And I know we mustn't break any confidentialities of the kinds of clients you work with. You do work with some agriculture clients,
Absolutely.
don't you? So this is a field that you're familiar with. And we've talked about the complications of working in Mother Nature. Do you think that a controlled environment system is going to be easier to deploy technologies in as compared with being out in the field?
That's a very interesting question. In some respects, you'd think so, because it's a controlled environment, but a lot of the same sorts of challenges still present themselves, whether there's just waters and other chemicals that are used to treat the plants, treat the crops, that can still be a challenge. Actually, the integration and the size scale becomes quite interesting for controlled environment agriculture. And I think it presents that opportunity to do some different monitoring and diagnostics. And so there's how would we do that sort of challenge, which that sort of system can bring. So it's a different set of challenges, but it's not without its challenges as well.
Sure. And going forward, so your clients come to you because they need your Agri-Technology's expertise in transforming their idea, their prototype into a commercially viable project or product. What do you think are there any barriers? Are there any challenges? What would be your call to arms, and to whom, to make your business more successful and to get that speed of innovation out into the field faster and more efficient? Who needs to do what?
Well, that's a big question. So there's a lot of aspects to that. I think the key one is really understanding what the high priority challenges are, those that are going to have the biggest economic impacts in the next 3 to 5 year time frame, because product development has that sort of clock speed to it, has that sort of time horizon. And there's a bit of an element of prediction with that, but with trends, I think we can kind of understand where those are going, whether it's just the costs of inputs are going up, so the management of those, and through that the monitoring of where they're going and the effect they're having. And I think the other aspect that comes across a lot in agriculture is it's such a varied landscape, literally. And so finding those solutions or finding those challenges that scale to have a sizable market is going to be the key thing, because then a solution can be developed that isn't just a one-off, but it has a scalable market, an addressable market, and then can actually make sense to develop and deliver its value over time. So I think there's a collective impetus that's needed from the growers, from the agronomists, from the farmers, to really prioritize their needs, and then the innovators to be able to address those. And then we sit in that middle bit to bring that innovation into a marketable product.
Right. So Agri-Technology, they know what they're doing, they understand the innovation system, and they understand agriculture. Bring them your challenges and they'll solve them.
Thank you very much.